You became a school leader because you wanted to have an impact and also to ensure that students are successful. But right now, despite some teachers being dedicated more than you'd like, are doing just enough, and some are completely disengaged, leaving you stuck, trying to figure out how to get everybody on one accord. I mean, you've met with a few teachers, you've even had to put your foot down a few times. And instead of commitment, what you got was quiet disengagement. You got teachers just going through the motions. And every single day, you feel like you're fighting an undercurrent. And it is exhausting. If you're a school leader who simply wants real commitment from staff and not just from a small pocket of invested people, stay with me. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you what's causing the problem and what you can do to fix it. What is up, good people? Dr. T here, your school improvement coach. Today, we're getting into how to lead teachers who aren't committed to the work, because understanding this and fixing it are critical if you want to lead with impact. Now let's get into it. Now, as leaders, we want our teachers to not only believe in the work we're doing, but we want them to fully commit to it as well. And that's the pathway to success. But honestly, the work we do in schools was never designed for one person or even just a small group to do all the heavy lifting. So when we notice a lack of commitment, what do? We go in our bag of things we've been trained to do, and that's to performance manage things that appear to undermine the mission. But what you probably noticed is that commitment still doesn't show up. And the reason this happens is because the issue is bigger than accountability. Now let me explain. When you're passionate about student success as a school leader, it's hard to sit still. If the results aren't where they need to be or where you want them to be, you start adjusting. You try a new strategy you heard about that worked at another school, or sometimes you may even shift the focus. But here's the problem with that. We often make these adjustments before the current focus even has a chance to take root. We may roll out something and it never even mention it again, or we don't give teachers enough support or what they actually need to successfully carry it out. Teachers start noticing this and they begin to think to themselves, here we go again. Let's see how long this lasts. And they logically conclude that if they just wait it out, it'll pass. And this happens to be because people don't commit to things that they feel are temporary. So the real issue we're dealing with revolves around trust, in the sense that staff need to be able to trust that as a leader, you're committed to the work in order for them to commit. So if you want teachers to fully commit, you have to demonstrate your commitment as the leader. And what I've learned in this regard is that if you want people to trust that you're committed, there are three things that you must do. You have to be present, you have to be persistent, and you have to provide protection around the work. Now let's talk about the first way to demonstrate our commitment as a leader and build trust. And this first way is about being present. Being present in this sense is about remaining visible in the work after you've rolled it out. I'm talking after the presentation and after all the excitement fades. Because when teachers start watching you, at that point, they're asking themselves, is this still gonna be a thing? Or are we moving on to something else next week or next month for that matter? So it has to be unmistakably clear to them that you're invested, so in turn, they fully commit. So you can't just disappear after the rollout. You have to be present. For example, if you roll out a priority focused on small group instruction, then when you're doing observations, guess what you need to do? You should be looking for evidence of small group instruction and also giving feedback specific to that. Or if you roll out a focus on learning targets, when you're reviewing lesson plans and you're doing those observations, you should be looking for evidence of learning targets and your feedback should connect to it. Let's say you roll out an intervention block in your school. You got to show up during that time and you got to check in on teachers and offer support. Also in planning meetings, for example, ask how the things that they're doing are connecting to the priorities that have been rolled out. In data meetings, ask questions about the impact the work is having. In doing this, you're showing up where the work is happening and demonstrating a clear connection to it. You're in classrooms, you're in planning meetings, you're in spaces where the efforts actually live. And that lets teachers know you didn't just roll something out and walk away, no longer invested in it. And you're now sending a clear signal that you're committed. So here your logic has to be, if I said it matters, then I need to be seen in it. That's what being present in the work is about. Now we have persistence. as the second way to demonstrate our commitment as a leader to build trust. I want to be clear here that persistence isn't about pushing harder. Here, persistence is about continuing to reinforce the efforts after they've been introduced. Because here's what can happen after something's rolled out. Teachers go back to their classrooms and they have the intent to carry out the efforts, but then they have to respond to the many things that may come up on a day-to-day basis, which can cause their focus to drift. And when that happens, and we're not reinforcing the focus as a leader, staff begin to assume that the work is no longer a priority to you or them. That's why persistence matters, because persistence shows staff you're committed and it helps bring everyone focused back to the work or the priority. Now, here are some ways you can be persistent in that regard. You do this by revisiting the previously rolled out priority at the start of your meetings, reminding everyone of the focus. You can also do this by making sure your day-to-day decisions are connected to the priority or the work. And we must be certain that we're always re-emphasizing what the priority is as soon as we see the focus starting to drift in conversations or in people's actions. When you do these things, staff can see the focus hasn't changed and that you're still committed to the work, which strengthens trust. So your logic here has to be, if it still matters, I have to keep bringing us back to it. And that's what being persistent in the work is about. Now, the third way we demonstrate our commitment as a leader and build trust is providing protection around the work. Protection in this sense is about giving teachers the time and the resources they need to carry out the work with fidelity and precision. Sometimes as leaders, we tell staff what needs to be done, but we don't give them the tools or the support they need to actually do it. And when that happens, it's hard for teachers to commit to the work. And here's what I mean. Teachers may understand what the work entails. They see you present in the work. They hear constant reminders of the focus, but they don't always have the time, the support, or the materials they need to do the work well. So they're left trying to figure it out all on their own. And over time, that frustration can cause people to give up, especially when it feels like leadership isn't fully committed because time and support just aren't there. So providing protection around the work shows staff that you're not just asking them to do it. It shows you're committed to the work by making sure they have what they need to successfully do the work. Now, here are just a few simple ways you can protect the work. One way you can protect the work is by giving people time to adjust to changes in classroom practice or operational routines instead of expecting the work to take hold overnight and then introducing something new right after. Another way to protect the work is by making sure staff have the materials and tools they need to actually do the work well. And a third way to protect the work is by providing support like coaching or professional development to help teachers build the skills they need to do the work well. When you do these things, staff begin to see that the work really matters and that you're serious about it because you're investing the time and the resources in it. And when leaders do this, it makes it much easier for staff to commit to the work as well. So your logic here has to be, if the work matters, I have to give people what they need to do it well. And that's what providing protection around the work is about. So here's what this all comes down to. If you want staff to fully commit, they first have to trust that you're committed as well. And trust gets built when they consistently see three things from you as their leader: your presence in the work, your persistence around the work, and your protection of the work. Because when those three things show up consistently, something interesting starts to happen. Teachers stop quietly thinking to themselves, I'm gonna just wait this out. It'll pass. Because once they see your presence, your persistence, and your protection around the work, they start to realize something. They realize that this one isn't passing because they can clearly see you're committed to it. And when people see the level of commitment from their leader, they're far more likely to commit to the work themselves. All right, good people, I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Show me some thumbs up love if you did. And if any of this hit home, go ahead and drop a comment sharing your experience around leading staff who aren't committed. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos like this and like the one at the top of your screen. And if this conversation about trust and commitment in the work resonated with you, I go deeper into concepts like this in my upcoming book, The 4 Cornerstones of Effective Schools. In it, I break down how leaders can remove the barriers that often cause improvement efforts to stall, so you don't have to rely on heroics that only lead to burnout. And the links for pre-order for my book are in the channel description. And until next time, lead with impact and protect your peace.